We are approaching 1 million subscribers on our YouTube channel. Can't believe we're even close to this. Can't thank you guys enough. If you haven't already, please go hit that subscribe button. Lots of fun NBA content coming your way. Working on the media side now. I talked about this a bunch last year, in particular during the playoffs, where there was this weird aha moment for a lot of fans. Like, oh, Denver's good. Nikola Jokic is good. And this is a genuine question. I know I sort of view, right, your broadcasting as partners, right? The ESPNs of the world, the Turners of the world. We are partners of the league. And I don't know how much influence the league office has on the ancillary content around the broadcast, right? There's the game broadcast and then there's the ancillary content. But this is a genuine question. What do you think we in the media can do better about promoting the league as a whole versus what seems to me like promoting 5 or 6 teams a season and 5 to 10 players a season?
So, number one, we have very little influence on the ancillary programming, and you can speak to that because you know now that you're part of that. I've never called you and said, I can't believe you're talking about this or that.
You're talking about ratings. We're talking about ratings. Like
so
in real time.
You guys, despite what was written even about some talent changes at ESPN, the league does not have a say there. Where we do have a say is in the schedule itself. So there is a back and forth between the networks and the league office on scheduling, on determining which teams to max out on. There's, for listeners, the networks are limited by the number of times they can put each game. We put each team on. Of course, we're just talking about the regular season now. And often the push from the league is let's feature more teams. Because in part, I see my goal as helping the league, I call it for shorthand, to become more NFL-like. And by that I mean, and this is changing in a very positive way. Of course, we've had 5 different teams win our finals in the last 5 years. But historically, I think if you asked a casual fan, are you going to watch the NBA finals? They would say, well, who's going to be in it? And if you asked a casual NFL fan, are you going to watch the Super Bowl? They'd hardly ever say only if the Giants are in it. It's a national holiday. And I think a part of, my job is to take people who are fans of the game back to where we started, and by definition, create interest in whoever the teams are that are most successful, because those are the teams that they, in addition to whoever their hometown fan is or wherever their personal interest is, players and teams should think, I'm a fan of the game. This is the best basketball being played by definition because this team has gone to the conference finals or the finals. So I think where we can all do a better job, and again, I'm not just pointing to the media here, is talking more about the game. And I also, my frustration a bit, I think sometimes that the color commentary in our games gets reduced to this team wanted it more, or, this team tried harder, as opposed to like, there's really complex defenses. Like, what's the offense? Like, why is this team losing the way they are? Like, why is this team successful? Explain what the pick and roll is. Explain, it's funny, as our friend Chris Paul is always saying, what does ice mean? What does blue mean? Like, explain what's happening on the court, because I think there is this sense that, unlike in football, where the coaches are viewed as these field generals going out there with the complex schemes, then in basketball, there's a sense that it's just about athleticism, or somehow, the coach's job is just to get the guys to play hard, as opposed to these, and again, you could speak so much better to this than I can, but these incredibly sophisticated defenses, offenses. I think, just use another network example, I think Kenny Smith, when he goes to that board, is a great example of helping explain the game visually, graphically to people to understand what's happening on the floor. So again, not necessarily knock on the media and of our partners, because the league has to start with the league office, but let's talk more about basketball. And then the other stuff I'm fine with, like have fun with the guys and, the fashion show as the guys are walking into the arena, all that. I'm not against it, but the game.
Yeah. The debates around the GOAT, and I know exactly what you're talking. I was very, very happy. I coached my son last night, And I was very happy when I got home, and Oklahoma City was hosting the New Orleans Pelicans last night. And I was like, this is great. These are two teams that I want to watch. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening there.
CJ McCollum had a great game.
Yeah, great game. Yeah. Big shot down the stretch. And to your point, it's difficult, I think, on a broadcast, unlike football, where there's 25 seconds between plays. It's difficult on a broadcast. You got to wait for a stoppage. You got to wait for a dead ball to really get into the weeds on some of the complexities of offensive and defensive coverages. But I would say to any fan, it is incredibly complex, and there is a lot of sophistication. This is not a league at all where you just roll the ball out and go play. This is not pickup basketball. And I think the complaint that bothers me sometimes is, especially in this 3-point era, it's like, oh, they're just going down and jacking up threes. It's not really what it is. It's not really what it is. And there's a simple way to break it down. We're not going to do it on this show.